Summary of The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. Introduction and background. Anne Frank, born on June 12, 1929, in Frankfurt, Germany, was a Jewish teenager whose poignant diary offers a vivid account of life during the Holocaust. In 1933, her family relocated to Amsterdam to escape the escalating anti-Semitic persecution in Germany. However, the Nazi occupation of the Netherlands in 1940 brought new and severe threats. In July 1942, as the danger of deportation grew imminent, the Frank family went into hiding in the concealed annex of Otto Frank's former business premises, and received a diary for her 13th birthday and began writing on June 12, 1942, addressing it to Kitty. The diary provides a deeply personal view of her experiences and reflections during the years she spent in hiding. Anne's writings offer insight into the daily life of a young girl in hiding, her family dynamics, and her thoughts on human nature and the world. The significance of the diary lies in its portrayal of the resilience of the human spirit amidst unimaginable adversity and its role as a powerful historical document of the Holocaust. Early life and move to Amsterdam. Anne Frank was born in Frankfurt, Germany, to Otto and Edith Frank, and had an older sister named Margot. Her early years were marked by a relatively comfortable middle-class life. However, as the Nazi Party rose to power in the early 1930s, anti-Semitic laws and violence began to severely affect Jewish families in Germany. Recognizing the increasing danger, the Frank family decided to relocate to Amsterdam in 1933, where Otto Frank had established a new business and hoped for a safer environment. In Amsterdam, the Franks initially found a degree of stability. However, the Nazi occupation of the Netherlands in May 1940 soon disrupted their lives. The occupation brought stringent anti-Jewish measures, including forced curfews, exclusion from public life, and the threat of deportation to concentration camps. The increasing severity of these measures, coupled with a pervasive atmosphere of fear, prompted the Franks to take drastic action to protect themselves, ultimately leading them to go into hiding in July 1942. Going into hiding. In July 1942, with the threat of deportation to a concentration camp becoming increasingly imminent, the Frank family made the critical decision to go into hiding. They sought refuge in the secret annex of Otto Frank's former business premises at 263 Prinsengracht in Amsterdam. The annex was a concealed space behind a movable bookcase, accessible only through a hidden staircase. Joining the Frank family in hiding were the Van Pels family, Herman, Auguste, and their teenage son Peter, and later, a dentist named Fritz Pfeffer. The annex, known as the Achterhuis, was carefully concealed from view and required strict adherence to silence during the day when the building was occupied by non-Jewish employees. Life in the annex was fraught with challenges. The occupants had to rely on trusted friends, such as Miep Gies and her husband Jan, for supplies and news from the outside world. The confined space and constant need for secrecy added significant stress to their lives. Despite these difficulties, the decision to go into hiding was a necessary measure to protect themselves from the pervasive threat of Nazi persecution. Life in the secret annex. Life in the secret annex was a complex blend of routine, tension, and occasional moments of normalcy. Anne Frank's diary offers a detailed account of her experiences during this period, capturing the challenges and daily routines of life in hiding. The annex occupants had to maintain complete silence during working hours to avoid detection by the employees in the building below. Their days were marked by a rigid schedule of activities to ensure their safety and maintain some semblance of normal life. Daily routines included meals prepared in the small kitchen, activities such as reading and writing, and limited opportunities for exercise or fresh air. The inhabitants of the annex relied heavily on the few trusted helpers who brought supplies and updates from the outside world. This reliance created a strong sense of solidarity among the group, but it also heightened the stress of living in such a confined space. Anne's relationships with the other inhabitants of the annex were a significant part of her diary. Her relationship with her family was marked by both affection and tension. She often described conflicts with her mother, whom she felt misunderstood her, and struggled with her sister Margot, who was reserved and distant. Her evolving friendship with Peter Van Pels was one of the most significant aspects of her time in hiding. Initially, Peter was shy and withdrawn, but over time, he and Anne developed a close bond, offering each other companionship and support. Anne's reflections on her personal growth during this period are profound. Despite the hardships, she used her time in hiding for self-discovery and intellectual development. Anne's diary reveals her deepening introspection and philosophical thoughts about human nature, freedom, and the future. She wrote about her aspirations to become a writer and her desire to make a meaningful impact on the world. Her observations on the human condition and her own inner struggles reflect a maturity and depth beyond her years. Overall, Anne's diary provides an intimate glimpse into her life in the Annex, highlighting the resilience of a young girl facing the harsh realities of war while striving to maintain hope and find meaning in her circumstances. External threats and internal struggles. The occupants of the secret annex faced constant external threats from the Nazi regime. The ever-present danger of discovery was a major source of stress, as any slip in maintaining secrecy could lead to arrest and deportation. The Gestapo's raids and the informants who might betray them added to the pervasive fear. This threat was compounded by the fact that the annex had to remain silent during working hours when the building below was occupied by non-Jewish employees, making the occupants' lives even more constrained. Internally, the strain of living in hiding led to significant emotional and psychological challenges. Confined in a small space with limited privacy, the residents often experienced tensions and conflicts. Anne's relationships with others in the annex were frequently strained, particularly with her mother and sister, as well as with Peter Van Pels. These conflicts, coupled with the uncertainty of their future and the isolation from the outside world, contributed to a constant emotional burden. Anne's diary reflects her growing anxiety, frustration, and the challenge of maintaining hope while dealing with the harsh realities of their confined existence. The betrayal and arrest. In August 1944, the secret annex's precarious existence came to a devastating end. On August 4, 1944, the hiding place was raided by the Gestapo, following an anonymous tip that led to their discovery. The betrayal remains a mystery, as the identity of the informant has never been definitively confirmed. The arrest was swift and severe. The occupants were taken into custody, and the annex was thoroughly searched. For Anne Frank and the others, the raid marked the collapse of their carefully constructed sanctuary. The shock and fear of being apprehended after so many years in hiding were overwhelming. Anne's diary entries from the days leading up to their arrest reflect her anxiety and sense of impending doom. The arrest disrupted their fragile sense of security and marked the beginning of a harrowing journey through the Nazi concentration camp system. The impact on Anne and her fellow occupants was profound. They were first sent to the Westerbork transit camp before being deported to Auschwitz. Anne's diary, abruptly ending on August 1, 1944, captures the grim reality of their situation, with the final entries revealing a mixture of fear, hope, and uncertainty about the future. Aftermath and legacy. After their arrest, Anne Frank and the other occupants of the secret annex were first sent to the Westerbork transit camp, where they endured harsh conditions before being transported to Auschwitz in September 1944. In October 1944, Anne and her sister Margot were transferred to Bergen-Belsen, a labor camp in northern Germany. Tragically, both sisters died of typhus in March 1945, just weeks before the camp was liberated by Allied forces. Otto Frank was the sole survivor of the annex residents. Anne's diary, which had been preserved by Miep Gies, was published posthumously by her father in 1947 under the title Het Achterhuis, The Secret Annex. Renamed The Diary of a Young Girl in English, it quickly gained international acclaim for its powerful portrayal of a young girl's experiences during the Holocaust. The diary's impact has been profound, offering a poignant and personal perspective on the horrors of war and the resilience of the human spirit. It continues to educate and inspire readers around the world, serving as a vital reminder of the consequences of prejudice and the enduring strength of hope.